Hey, what's going on, everyone? Another week, another video. In this one, I want to try and make this quick because I think the subject itself could go on, for a long time. But I just wanted to focus on one thing really. We see a lot of people talking about how great the software lineup is for the Nintendo Switch. Some people, which you've seen on Twitter, say that this is the best Nintendo console ever in terms of third-party software, and I can understand where they're coming from because the Nintendo Switch seems to be getting a lot of third-party games, and then you can mention some of the games that from companies that the console had never. That Nintendo platforms had never gotten before. Arguably, in some cases, when you think of like Doom and Wolfenstein and all this stuff, even though that's kind of not true, but it certainly felt like it's been a while since many of these companies had come to Nintendo platforms and chucked their games on there. But one thing that I've noticed a lot with the Nintendo Switch is that it does not have a lot of exclusives. And what I mean by that is, you can look at the Nintendo Switch and think, what are you talking about? It has got a lot of Nintendo exclusives. Yeah, it's got a lot of Nintendo exclusives because it's a Nintendo platform. And then it's got other exclusives, when you think of games like Astral Chain, and stuff like that. But these are all games that are published by Nintendo. So Nintendo have gotten involved in many ways to try and get these exclusive games onto their platforms. But when we think of the effort that third parties have done in terms of actually putting their own exclusives onto the system, that's when the waters get a little bit muddy. I'd also like to challenge people to come up with 5 or 10 games that don't appear on other platforms but were specifically designed for the Nintendo Switch, and you will really start to struggle. The only game that comes to mind that I've bought in terms of a Switch exclusive, even though it's come to PC now, is Octopath Traveler, which was from Square Enix, as we know. Squaresoft, I nearly said. I always still call it Squaresoft. And Octopath Traveler was one of those games where you thought, oh man, this is perfect for a Nintendo console. It's that type of market. Nintendo always got the issues games from Square when you think of the RPGs that Square used to do. But even when you think about that, you go way back a little for the most part. To games like Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana and and all of this stuff. But what I've noticed on the Nintendo Switch and just with Nintendo in general of late. Maybe even including the Nintendo Wii U, but we're focused on the Switch for now, is that Japanese developers, the big Japanese developers that we're used to, Sega, Capcom, Konami, Namco, Square, all these guys, you don't really see them making any original or exclusive games for the Nintendo Switch. And, when I sat down and think about it, I was like, you're absolutely right. So I thought I just need to. What I do is I'll go through just a few of my older games that I have on some of my older consoles, and I'm gonna skip the Wii U because we all know the Wii U just went through a lot of trouble. But I'm gonna go back to 2 consoles, which are the Nintendo GameCube and the Nintendo Wii, and I'm going to show just some games where people would argue that these consoles never had third-party games. Whatever, which is just an absolutely ridiculous statement. And I could go through the wealth of games that I have for these platforms and show a large number of third-party games. But I just want to focus on the Japanese companies that I mentioned because they seem to be quite shy on the Nintendo Switch. And we're 3 years in, and people will still argue that it takes time to make games. Obviously, with the troubles of the Wii U, these companies were sitting back. But I think we know that time has gone now. So maybe we will see in the 4th year or later this year from the Nintendo Switch, many games for these companies that where they've gone, okay, we need to make games for the Switch now. But yeah, I mean. When we go back to, let's go back to the GameCube, right? On the GameCube, you've got the famous Platinum 5, right? And the famous Platinum 5, as we know, ended up turning into Platinum 4. I say platinum. I got platinum games in my head, obviously, with the Platinum 4, which is quite funny because, you know, it's a very similar company in some respects. But the Capcom 5. The Capcom 5. But as we know, it turned out to be the Capcom 4 because Dead Phoenix, which was the 5th game, didn't actually get released. And I actually like the look of Dead Phoenix. But part of the Capcom... What's wrong with me? Part of the Capcom 4, which we'll go into, was one game series which, you know, I absolutely fell in love with and loved. Beautiful Joe. And I absolutely loved Beautiful Joe. And then, of course, on the GameCube as well came Beautiful Joe 2. I bought, you can see I got the American versions here. I bought these, you know, when they released. I got my Platinum GameCube from the US early because, you know, back then a lot of games didn't release at the same time worldwide. And I got my Platinum GameCube from Metroid Prime. Obviously, no regrets whatsoever. But yeah, Beautiful Joe. Those were some of the games, right? We had PN03, which Vanessa, the main character you can see here, she was definitely an early Bayonetta. Not the most amazing game in the world. Certainly worth a try, but nothing to scream about. Killer 7. I absolutely freaking loved this game. It's such an original game. Such an original game. But there we go. Another Capcom exclusive or original title for the Nintendo GameCube. Amazing game. And you had one of the best games ever made. I bought this when I was out in New York when it released. I got the GameStop limited edition. I don't know if you've seen it. It's pretty cool. You get a tin in there. You know, there's the game. You get like little cards, little story booklet, little cards and stuff. Oops. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, one of my favourite games ever. I think it's one of the best games ever made. I won't hear any arguments about it. That was exclusive on the GameCube until later on. Obviously, it got ported to the PS4 and everything, PS2 and everything else. But it originally came out of the GameCube first. Capcom doing crazy support on the GameCube. And to carry on, Capcom as well, they released Resident Evil, which was a remake of the original Resident Evil game. One of my favourite Resident Evil games this is. Absolutely amazing. And then, of course, you had Resident Evil 0, another GameCube exclusive for the time. Absolutely great game. Not as good as a Resident Evil remake. I'd say absolutely great game. It's okay. It's a good game and it's certainly worth playing. But yeah, another exclusive. And then as I file off other games, Skies of Arcadia Legends. Now, yeah, admittedly, I shouldn't really include this one. It was a port of a Dreamcast title, but it came nowhere else. Only on a GameCube from Sega, Skies of Arcadia Legends. I mean, Skies of Arcadia is one of my favourite RPGs ever. Awesome game. Super Monkey Ball, original game for Sega at the time. Phantasy Star Online 3, exclusive to the GameCube once again. Great game if you've never played this. Card-based, different from other Phantasy Star Online games, but really good game. Beach Spikers, Sega were all over the GameCube. All over the GameCube. And to be honest, Sega are one of the Nintendo's best third-party companies who work with Nintendo. They put virtually everything on there that they can. Namco, you had R Racing, which was a decent game. You know, not the best Ridge Racer type of game, but still a decent game. On the GameCube, exclusive at the time, great stuff. Sega, with Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, one of the best intro themes ever in the video game, ever to this game. Absolutely loved it. Great game. Then you got Namco again, Batten Kaitos. My friend Retro Death, loves this game beyond the earth. I also think it is an amazing game. Once again, exclusive to the GameCube. Incredible game. Super Monkey Ball 2. This is my favorite Super Monkey Ball. The Super Monkey Ball series later died when Sega released the third game on the Xbox exclusive. No one bought it on there. Monkey Ball 2 on the GameCube was awesome. It picked up a bit of life later on the Wii and stuff, but I think this was the peak of the series. But it doesn't matter. Another exclusive GameCube game from a Japanese third party, from one of the Japanese major third parties, Sega again. Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube. exclusive, doesn't come anywhere else. Awesome game at the time, one of my favorite RPGs ever. Soul Calibur 2. Now, yeah, this went multi-platform, but Soul Calibur released on Nintendo platforms and had exclusive characters like Link. You know, I think most people bought this version. Soul Calibur 2 is just crumptier, and everyone loved it. But you don't see Soul Calibur anymore on Nintendo platforms. Then from Konami, you got Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. I mean, this game, I love this game. Probably my second favourite Metal Gear game after Metal Gear Solid 3. Just a great remake, but again, exclusive, hasn't come anywhere else. Konami put this on the GameCube, one of Nintendo's least, commercially successful consoles, even though it done really well. But still, it was on there. And then if we jump to the Wii, Silent Hill Shattered Memories. I think this came on PSP as well, but at the time, it was only on the Wii. Made great use of the Wiimote. One of my favourite Silent Hill games. There's really good idea on it. Namco jumped in again. An exclusive Tales of Symphonia game, Dawn of the New World. Not as good as Tales of Symphonia on the GameCube, but still a good RPG. Exclusive to the Wii on Nintendo platforms. Capcom, Zack and Wiki. Zack and Wiki is such an original game, and it's so good. It's not massive AAA budget. Loads of games don't need to be. This is a AA title, but with that Konami charm. And Zack and Wiki, I had to check before because I thought these characters are so well realised. Surely they've been somewhere else before, but nope. First time we ever saw them, and they were on the Wii. Capcom, doing stuff on the Wii. So where did Capcom doing original stuff on the Nintendo Switch? Nowhere. Stick with Capcom again. Monster Hunter 3. Now, we had Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS, and they ported that to the Switch. But this was the last Nintendo exclusive home console Monster Hunter until, of course, they made Monster Hunter World and haven't bothered bringing that over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, do I expect Capcom to do now an exclusive Monster Hunter for the Nintendo Switch? No, but also, why not? Would it not sell? Would they not be able to do something else? They did Monster Hunter Stories on a 3DS. That was exclusive, right? Can they do something similar? What's stopping them? What are Capcom doing? And what are they thinking about the Nintendo Switch? Where they're like, okay, this console is clearly not doing well enough. I don't think we should make any original content on it or produce anything else. It's just, I don't understand. Konami again, you've got LEDs, another original game. Don't get me wrong, this wasn't amazing, but I still really enjoyed it. Almost reminds you of like Toy Commander. You can go around the house in big rooms and stuff and find loads of things. I love games like this. They made really good use of the Wii remote, and my kids loved it. But just another original title, not AAA, AA title here, small budget, but you can easily pump this out. And Konami doing console exclusive stuff for Nintendo platforms, but nothing on the Switch. And then you got Mad World. Now, don't get me wrong, Sega and Platinum Games, they've done a lot on the Nintendo Wii, even on the Wii U. And they've gone a bit quieter now on the Nintendo Switch, even though we know, Platinum's still working hard with Nintendo. But Sega published this, just willing just to get stuff on the Wii. An original title, hasn't come anywhere else. But another AA title, just from a Japanese major third party supported in the platforms. But the Switch has gone dry in not so much dry, but you certainly, just from these examples, you can see the wealth of games and original content on previous Nintendo consoles. And like I said, you will struggle to think of original stuff on the Nintendo Switch. You got From Software, Tenchu, Shadow Assassins. From Software, they've been doing some good stuff lately. And I've always been in love with this company. I've been begging for a new Tenchu. But yeah, From Software, original content, once again, nowhere to be seen on the Nintendo Switch. Sega again, an original, nice Into Dreams, or Nice Journey of Dreams in this case. A sequel. Now, don't get me wrong, this didn't sell that great, and it wasn't as good as the original. But the whole point is, you have these exclusive games that you take chances on. It doesn't have to be AAA, can be AA, which this game was. It'll sell some numbers, and it'll do well enough to build up that portfolio for that company, as well as that portfolio on that platform, to entice people to be excited about that console. And the Switch needs to be excited about, needs to be keep that momentum going, because you can't stand still. No matter how many consoles you've sold, you cannot stand still on software and just accept ports of old games from the PlayStation 2, from the original Xbox, from the PS3 and all this stuff. But still, you had Night of the Dreams. Another Capcom game. Spyborgs. Not the most amazing game again. Another double platinum Capcom game, but still, an original title. House of the Dead Overkill. Another original title from Sega. For Nintendo platforms. Capcom, Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles. And then you got Resident Evil, The Umbrella Chronicles. Original games. For the Nintendo Wii. For Nintendo platforms, but you're just not seeing this stuff on the Nintendo Switch. All we're getting at the moment is, we're getting third-party support. We are. You're seeing just the games that come out today, for the most part, appear on the Nintendo Switch. But then also, everything else is mostly just ports and updates of older games that people, you can be excited about those. That's great. It does build up the software library. But the Switch in that respect can also lose its identity with only Nintendo once again trying to keep it afloat by their own software, and also trying to get these major third parties to work with them, so Nintendo will publish the games and then they can get original content. But you're just not really seeing these big major Japanese third parties coming up with just original content for themselves. And you can mention a game maybe like Bravely Second coming out, and No More Heroes and stuff like that. But I bet these are published by Nintendo. The original Bravely games were, and I'm sure, unless it was Sega, I can't remember, No More Heroes was. But you're just not seeing them coming out and just going, yes, I want to make this original game for the Switch. I believe the Switch market will like it. Let's make this for this console. Or just make an original game. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a major AAA title. Most of those games I showed you weren't major AAA titles, although some were. But you're just not seeing them. So I don't know. It's just a bit weird. Like I said, maybe times will change, or just maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe I'm forgetting about some games in my head, that have just come, original to the Switch outside of Octopath Traveler and maybe one or two other games. But like I said, I'm racking my brain here, and we're not looking online or anything, and I can't really think of anything major from these Japanese companies. It's almost like they haven't abandoned them, or some of them have in some respects, but they're also not ready or seemingly willing to give Nintendo original games when they're happy to do it for the other companies. If you think about the PlayStation 4, some of the original content that platform has got, it's just night and day. But just some thoughts there. Currently on my feelings towards these big Japanese companies, and you could extend this if you want into other big AAA companies, when you start talking like EA and Activision and stuff like that. And Ubisoft have done some stuff. They've done like Starlink content, but once again, getting published by Nintendo in terms of the Star Fox content. They've done Rayman Rabbit Kingdom Battle, but once again, published by Nintendo, or at least with Nintendo content in mind. But you're not seeing them doing anything like Red Steel and stuff, where it's just original content just for that platform. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. All this could change still, but I feel like we've been saying that for a while as well. I just hope that we get some more original stuff for the Nintendo Switch from other companies. But of course, their newer games are just as welcome. And they should be there for the most part. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, people, and I'll see you again in the next video. Thanks for listening, take care all, and peace.